What's good? What's good? What's good? This is your boy Rocky the Comic. Welcome to another episode of the Comedy Hour Live. Coming to you from thepowerofvoices.com. I got my faithful supporters in here with me as usual. Mr. Lee Michaels behind the it's not the ones and the twos, what is it? Behind the board. I got my beautiful wife, Micheline Cousseau. That feels nice to say, Micheline Cousseau. Mrs. Cousseau is working my camera, and our lovely host could not be here today, Annamarie, but we expect her back tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next Tuesday. I done already turned us into a daily show, and we're only weekly right now. So anyway, listen, I'm ready to have a good time with you guys tonight. We're doing something special tonight. Tonight, I want to talk to the viewers. You know, we always talking to our guest here at Comedy Hour Live. Hey, Keith, what's good? Hey, listen, go ahead and call in. So we're going to give you the number. It's 424-227-9461. So be sure to give me a call, and we can talk about what's on your mind. What's on your mind?
Jessica has a question.
Hey, Jessica, tell me what's your question.
Her question is, what do you think about Kevin Hart apologizing on, I guess, social media about the cheating?
So the question is about Kevin Hart. What do I think about the question the video he put up about, did he even say he cheated? Yeah, I don't even know. His language was very, very political. He said,
Blackmail, basically.
yeah, he was in the wrong spots. And yeah, please give her a mic, Lee. Thank you. My baby keep talking like y'all can hear her.
Okay.
So I haven't watched the whole thing. You said that's Erica?
Yeah, Jessica.
Jessica asking. Jessica, I haven't watched the whole thing, but what's so hilarious is as soon as the story hits, they already almost ready with the memes. Like, did y'all see the memes and the songs? I saw definitely the one about the guy who went down to South Florida because he said he wanted to see the weather or whatever, and he heard that people were evacuating.
Oh.
And as soon as he made the statement, boom, they turned it into a song. So I heard somebody did a song with Kevin, and I think it might have some legs. It might go somewhere. They just turned it into an R&B song with him apologizing. Man, I wish, Lee, can we pull that up? We might have to pull that up.
Which one?
No. They remixed Kevin Hart's apology message.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And so yeah, man, Kev. And it's funny because I saw one of another comic mention, like, basically four people knew about Kevin Hart. God, Kevin ex-wife, and Kevin new wife, or something like that. And I was just like, dang. Basically, like they already knew he was gonna cheat again or something. So listen, I love my homie Kevin. He's definitely paved a wonderful road in comedy, and he's opened a lot of doors because he's changed the game on how comics are handled when you become a brand and when you become a corporation. So I definitely respect his business acumen. I mean, he definitely runs himself like a corporation. He's got a staff. He's got, everything, you name it. And what's so funny is my brother Kev got it down so cold to where when Hollywood thought, because they signed him on to do a movie, that he would get the opportunity to just that they would get instant access to his social media, he had to check them and let them know, like, no, my social media is mine. And if you want to promote through those channels, you have to pay me for that. And that's like kind of revolutionary because most people use their social media to promote their projects and it's a given. But my boy Kev said, no, like I've put in a lot of work to cultivate this, to keep these millions of followers engaged. And so he made sure that they knew you gotta pay for this access. Same way you gotta pay a network to run commercials on their channels. That's how my boy Kev did it. So shout out, salute to Kev. I pray for him and his family. I don't know what to tell you because, like I said, I might have to watch the clip again because it's something about the language he was using, like, "Oh, I'm not perfect," and I was maybe somewhere I didn't need to be, or something like that. I didn't actually hear him apologize for doing anything wrong, so I'm gonna have to go back and double check. But man, we're praying for Kev because I definitely root for Black love. I definitely root for Black entrepreneurship and Black empireship because that brother's trying to build an empire. So my thoughts and prayers go out to the brother. I've run into him a few times and cool. He's a cool cat. He's always usually takes a minute to try to school young comics to the game and give us just give us a little wisdom and jewels. And he does the same thing on his social media. So I honestly wish him the best. And the crazy part of me, the comedian part of me, knows like another great stand-up routine is going to come out of it, though. Just like with Richard Pryor, they take the pain from their real life and turn it into something beautiful. So I can't wait to see that. It's weird to say, but because even he did one of his specials, he did a great job talking about the first marriage and the things that went wrong. Namely him cheating or whatever, or them having done, both of them having done whatever they did. And I know Naeem alluded to that because Naeem, one of our former guests, is in that circle. And he basically just said, hey, they both played a part, essentially. So, hey, it is what it is, baby. We out here in Hollywood. I mean, hey, things can happen, but hopefully not for me and my marriage. So y'all pray for you, boy. I told my wife, I took a year and a half off from dating. When I moved out to LA, I just kind of needed to refocus and get centered. And I knew if I wanted better results in my life that I needed to change a lot of my habits, most especially my dating habits. So I know with me, I had to calm all of that energy down so that God could move in my life in a way to where he could prepare me for my wife. And so I'm very thankful for that time. And I highly recommend that for anybody who is looking to get involved in a new relationship. Take that time to yourself, get centered, get focused, but most especially leave all your exes on the other side of the continent. That really helps. I promise you. So definitely, like I said, we're praying for the brother and his family, and can't wait to see what kind of comedy he's going to bring to us.
Unknown.
Yes, we got another question.
And asked us about the.
Get on the mic. Can I hear you?
Okay, so the unknown email came through, and they said they wanted to find out your thoughts on the Emmys as far as recognizing, I guess, Jerry Lewis, and not recognizing Dick Gregory and Charlie Murphy, right?
Yeah, Charlie Murphy just passed also.
Yes, but in I guess because Jerry Lewis was like a day after Dick Gregory, so they just wanted to kind of know your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So what's interesting for me, and I'll let you guys know this about me. I'm out here and I'm around this industry. I'm in the industry, but I'm not of the industry. So I didn't even watch the Emmys. I'll probably go back and catch some clips. But just shout out to Donald Glover and some of the people that I saw on social media that finally got some recognition. Shout out to Issa Rae. Not Issa Rae. Goodness, what's Issa's last name?
Oh, Lord. I went blank.
Shout out to my girl Issa from Insecure because they were interviewing her on the red carpet.
Issa Rae.
Yeah, Issa Rae. And they were interviewing my girl on the red carpet, and they were like, well, who are you rooting for? And she was basically like, the black people. Anybody black. So I echo that sentiment. I did not watch the Emmys. I'm going to go back and probably catch up. But I did watch them VH1 Hip Hop Awards. A little bit of that. I saw that. So it's a trip because I don't get caught up in this stuff. Like I came out here specifically kind of knowing what I wanted to do the lanes I wanted to create for myself. And shout out to my beautiful wife because she complements that. Matter of
Aw.
fact, my sweetheart,
baby. Thank
yeah,
you.
baby doll, my baby doll just participated in the AT&T Create-a-thon,
Yes, I did.
and she had to
Shout out to the 70s crew funk.
shout out. So they had to create a movie in almost a little less than almost less than 48 hours
Yeah.
and have it, script, shot, edited, and turned in at like what 2 p.m. on Sunday,
Yeah.
and they
We
got it
started on
done. They got it
Saturday.
in. So shout out to that. So what I say all that to say this: I came out here to create my own opportunities, and because I was so prayerful about taking that next step in my life, aka marriage, God put someone in my life who complemented that. And so my wife and I are both filmmakers. She is, as you hear, supporting me even in this endeavor. She's working my camera. She's helping produce. So, we have very specific goals out here, and it's not to let Hollywood dictate to us what we can do. We're out here to create our own opportunities. And so I would definitely want to shout out those who create for themselves, like Issa Rae, like Donald Glover, because that brother's gone from stand up to doing sitcoms to doing music and now being recognized for a show that he created, ATL Atlanta. And, so shout out to those folks, because it's weird to think even in 2017, the Emmys and the Oscars and some of these shows are still just now recognizing their first African Americans in certain categories. Like he is the first African American to win that award, from what I'm told, at the Emmys. This is 2017. We're still having firsts. So if they neglected to acknowledge Dick Gregory and Charlie Murphy, that is a travesty. And special shout out to Charlie Murphy because that brother took the Chappelle show to a whole new level.
Respect. Yeah.
And, who would have thought being Eddie Murphy's big brother and always playing second fiddle? I'm just amazed at how that brother was able to carve out a new lane for himself. And he even brought Rick James back into, the ether, man. He brought Rick James back into our minds, essentially. And I'm so glad that before Rick passed, he had an opportunity at that awards show to kind of pull it full circle, because there was a girl backstage who I guess didn't know who he was. And then he said that famous line, "I'm Rick James, bitch." And and it was just so full circle to have that moment with him, Tina Marie. Am I saying it right, Lee? Tina Marie. And for them to have that moment before they both left us. And it just seemed like such a wonderful full circle moment. But so if the Emmys didn't acknowledge that, that's a travesty. But if they didn't acknowledge my man Dick Gregory, who I thought was certainly going to live for another 30 more years, because that brother has been a health nut since late 60s, early 70s, maybe. And, so when I started watching Dick Gregory and even in college, I read his book, one of his books, just a profound thinker, man, and so progressive from the beginning. So, when you look at the early days of comedy, we're talking when comics were just starting to get recognized on television. And you're talking Richard Pryor, you're talking maybe like Red Fox, you're talking Flip Wilson, you're talking Dick Gregory, you're talking Bill Cosby. A lot of these cats had to pick their lane, right? So Cosby decided he was going to go completely clean, right? He worked clean for TV. We know Richard Pryor started working clean, but then decided to take a different route. And thank goodness. Same with Red Fox, who started a little clean, but he had the records that were blue, as they call it out here, blue comedy, but then came back to clean because think about Sanford and Son, right? Mm-hmm. So, but Dick Gregory, right, created his own lane where it was like, because if you watch Bill Cosby never really talked about race. Richard Pryor only talked about race, or mostly talked about race. Whereas Dick Gregory found this beautiful lane in the kind of in the middle where it was just like he could work a completely white room and talk about race in such a way to where he could make white people laugh about it, but take a serious look at themselves. And I just thought that was so masterful to be able to work, whether it's a completely white room or a completely black room, to be authentically yourself, but to always have a message. And, oh, I'm sorry, Lee. I thought we had plugged up that new cord. Or I was trying to get the camera scooted up so we could plug it in. I don't know how great the volume's getting.
So, Keith, before you go to another...
So, for the Emmys not to acknowledge Dick Gregory and all of his accomplishments in television, film, you name it. Granted, Emmys is just TV, right? Yeah. That's a travesty. That's a travesty.
You do have a question from
absolutely
from Keith Lewis.
Yes.
And it says, how about some good old-fashioned Richard Pryor cussing jokes? But since we have a call coming in, you want to take that first and then answer that question?
Yeah, we'll come back to that question.
So, Keith, we got you, okay, on the question.
Thank you, Keith, for the question. Caller.
Hey.
Hey. Who do we have on the line?
Shaniqua Shonday.
Shaniqua Shonday.
Hey, Shaniqua. Is this our little film star back from Toronto?
You know, out here just trying to make it work.
Shout out to Shaniqua. If y'all don't know who this young lady is, Shaniqua, give them a link or something where they can go find you, because this is a talented actress.
Yes.
Who just went to an international film fest, and they just fell in love with her. So we got to get you that shirt. I'm big in Canada, because you
only in Toronto though.
Oh, just Toronto. I'm big in Toronto. We got to get you that shirt. But give them a link real quick so they can.
I am on everything: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Well, spell Shaniqua for them, because you know black girls always have a different way to spell their names.
Get real creative. It's SHONIQUA, and Shonday is SHANDAI.
Excellent.
And I'm on everything.
Please check this sister out. Very talented. And I still want to give you a shout out for helping us shoot our Beyonce video. If y'all haven't seen that,
wow.
you gotta go on Rocky the Comic on Instagram and check out my baby doing her Beyonce moment, when Bay is Bay.
Yeah,
and
so funny.
Yeah. They're gonna have to scroll down because it's probably somewhere at the bottom of my page. I don't post as much as I should, but check that out, because Shaniqua was for sure our camera woman hanging out the. We had you hanging out the moonroof, the sunroof.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
You hanging out the sunroof, Mimi hanging out the passenger side window. We ain't have no permits. I mean, you talk about shooting gorilla, boy. We was just out there just.
By any means necessary.
Exactly. Shaniqua, so you just got back from Toronto, and give us a little bit. How was the screening? As far as going to see the movie Body, and this was the first time that you were like rapping, right? You had to learn how to rap, right?
Yeah, I had to learn how to rap. She does not rap at all. And of course, like, you know how like actors do, you get the notification and they ask you, can you rap, and you lie because they tell you trying to get the job. And just had to cram for like 5 days straight to learn how to do it for the audition, and then cram for like 3 months because, it's like the Jay-Z's of battle rap are in this movie. Just absolute, like, incredible talents. Like, these guys are like wordsmiths, just insane and excellent at their craft. So I didn't want to look like the actor.
Now you had Charlamagne in the movie too, right?
Charlamagne was in it. Loaded Lux,
yeah,
who is like the GOAT of battle rap, and Arsenal the
What?
Rebel and Daylight, like Disaster, all these bomb battle rappers, and I'm like, I'm not gonna look like the whack person. And then I'm the only female, and it's all these female battle rappers too. Do you guys remember Babs from Bad Boy? She was in the group making a
Yeah, how to
band.
make the band?
Yes,
Yeah,
Babs
yeah,
the
yes,
yeah.
Bunny.
She was
yes,
like
Yeah, she
yes.
has
the only female
a
rapper. Yeah, and then because the other girl was
yeah,
R
she was
and
the only
B.
female rapper. Yeah, she has
Yeah.
her own battle rap league called Queen of the Ring. And so I felt like I was studying those girls, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm the only girl in it. I gotta like shine for them because I'm sure they wanted to be in the movie too, you know.
Yeah,
That's
of
So
what's
my
course.
up.
just for them alone, I can't look like I can't rap. So I'm really proud of it though. The rap looks dope. Like a couple of people think I'm an actual rapper, and then in the New York Post, they quoted me as the rapper and actor, and I'm like, y'all will be very disappointed because she cannot rap.
So
Like literally,
who'd you use
that
as your motivation to
I studied them. I was K
okay, all the battle
Shine.
rappers.
K Shine. Yeah, I studied the battle rappers. I was with K Shine. I studied Official, who's a dope female battle rapper. I studied Loaded Lux, who's like I mentioned before, who's like the Jay-Z of battle rap. And
Got
then
you.
my homeboy, who's an actor as well, but obsessed with battle rap,
So you
and
just
he's a
you worked on
poet.
your punchlines or you
I
worked
just
on your
worked on my delivery because they already wrote the rap. The rapper is the writer. Sorry, the rapper. The writer is a battle rapper as well. His name's Kid Swiss
mm-hmm.
and Alex Larson, and so he had already wrote all the raps for me. So all I had to do was say it correctly.
That's
And
what's up.
so,
But yeah, but
yeah,
it's a certain like you got to get your intonations, like your mannerisms down.
yeah. But one thing I really love about battle rap is they're very close to like they're theatrical. They're performance artists. They're
Yeah.
literally on a stage with no beat, and they spent months writing these rhymes. So of course they want you to hear every word.
Wait. You mean they spend months writing their freestyles?
No, they're not. Well, some of them do freestyle, but most of these, it's like a boxing match.
Yeah,
They
yeah. It's
find
like
out who
it's
they're
like
gonna.
for sure. Yeah, poetry and boxing and
Yeah, they're
all of
not
that.
playing no games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they go up there, they find out who they're gonna battle. They go research your life, find out about your mama, find out about your sisters. They go
All
hardcore
right, this
about
is
it. Yeah, and they want you to hear every single
Find
word.
out
So most
about
of
so
your
them
we're
act it
mama. Better
what
out.
we
not talk
talking
about
about
my
right
mama.
now.
They
Just
get
so you
real
guys can see
personal.
right now, this is what she's talking about.
What you say?
No, I
Mimi
just
doing
show.
her own little picture in the picture.
Yeah, I'm
holding,
posting a picture up.
holding her
Oh.
phone up to my phone.
But I came to ask you a question,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am. I'm here
Rocky.
for you.
Okay, so I got an audition,
Yeah,
right, just
yes.
now, and they're looking for someone with strong comedic talent. How do you think it would help, like, I guess me as an actor, translate and find my funny? How can I find my funny for these auditions and stuff?
Oh, girl, I thought you had a spot for me. I'm like, yeah, give them my name. Yeah. Boy, they casting
I'm
that. I'm on
here.
the
I'm
way.
coming, right?
You
Now I'm coming
know,
to you for acting advice.
that's a tough one because honestly, I feel like, you can certainly learn to tell a joke, but
Hmm.
that funny kind of gotta be in you. Or for most cats, it's already there's something already in them. Like for me, I knew in middle school, like, cause in middle school it was all about, whether it was playing the dozens or getting cracked on or cracking jokes. You had to, much like what you're describing with the battle rappers, it
Hmm.
was that with jokes, and you had to be quick. And I learned from a young age that to go for the jugular. I learned,
Oh, wow.
yeah, because I wasn't much of a fighter, so like I had to get you up off me or leave me alone. So I'm gonna try to hurt your feelings for sure, real quick, so that you don't mess with me. So it's that same kind of a battle rap mentality where it's just like being quick witted, being very
Hmm.
observant. So if somebody got on some busted sneakers or whatever about them, same thing what you're talking about. You do a little research or you know something about them. Most especially if I know that's an insecurity for you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
Let
That's
me
what I'm.
find out you're a battle rapper, low key,
That's
though.
what
It's
I'm.
sounding very
But
familiar.
that's how you get indoctrinated or socialized at a young age. Well, some people in certain communities, in the black community or whatever.
Hmm.
But then after a while, I learned like, no, I don't. That's not who I want to be as a comedian. So then then I started to change into more of a Bill Cosby style, where just it's more of a storyteller,
Mhm.
and you're just sharing parts of your life, kind of like Kevin Hart. You find the funny in either your pain or just some of whatever else. You got to talk about what you can relate to.
Yeah.
So to give you a tip, that would be part of it. Like, find the things that you know well that you can discuss backwards and forwards. But then also too, what I tell people when I teach classes, think about
Oh,
those.
dope. You teach classes?
I've taught improv classes before. Well, I've taught stand up to improv classes,
Okay.
and it's so one of my tips is usually one, when something funny strikes you, write it down. And I use Evernote in my phone, or at least I used to, or for the most part, I still do. I like Evernote because it gets backed up.
Okay.
Because the last thing you want to do is have a bunch of notes on your phone and then
And then Luger.
something happened to the phone. So
Mhm. I've been there.
you need something that's going to back your notes up. So Evernote is a good look. But treat it like, what are the funny stories that I would like? What's the story that you would tell at a social gathering with your friends? Like, what's that funny story you're like, ooh, I gotta tell y'all this. I treat the
Okay.
stage that same way. Like, something crazy happened to me. I want to tell you guys about it.
Okay.
Because when you think of a funny story, you know what the funny part is. Like, you know where the as you would say, the punchline is. Like, you know what the funny part is. So as a comedian, what you learn to do when you start telling these stories, no matter what who the crowd is, you know how to change that part of the story to fit whoever you're talking to,
Mhm.
because the punchline is the same. So now, whether you got to clean the punchline up a little bit or not, that's the question. So for me, I can tell the same joke at a comedy club that I can tell at church. I just got to clean up parts of it, but it's going to be the same premise and the same punchline.
Got it.
But my language might change depending on where I'm at. But it's the same joke. So if it's being broke, or being raised in the church, or like whatever the topic is, you can shape it for the crowd. So what you learn when you start playing lots of different stages in front of lots of different crowds is, what can I say that this crowd can identify with? Because each crowd's going to be different. You
Mm.
you can't play every room the
Okay.
same way. Some people do, but for the people who want a better reaction, you're going to tailor parts of it to fit who you're speaking to. And once you do that, it's not hard. But I would start with that notion of what makes you laugh. That's where I start from. And then,
Okay.
what is that funny story that you would want to tell your friends? And just
That's
treat the
actually
stage like your friends.
that actually sounds like a really dope way to approach a script too. Like in my current situation is finding the funny and what makes me laugh about these sides. And then from there, seeing what I know in that situation, what can I relate to and what do I know is funny and applying it. That's really dope.
Yeah, that's the same way. That's how I approach a script. I think of like a funny moment or whatever. Then you fill in the gaps later. Like, you fill in the dialogue later. But what's is it a heartache story? Is it a love
Hmm.
story? Is it a funny story? You find those bits and you borrow from your life easily. Right?
Okay.
And then you fill in the dialogue. And when you have let somebody read it or whatever, and that's what's dope too about when you create projects where you can collaborate, because somebody will bring their funny, you'll bring your funny, and you can find the magic in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's the same
Yeah.
concept. Like, I'm trying to think, because I just finished 2 screenwriting classes, and Mimi did. Did you do both of them? No,
No,
you did
I
one of
did
them.
one of them.
Oh, dope. Where you guys taking
We take
screenwriting
our
class
classes
at?
at LACC.
Los Angeles City
Shout
College.
out to Los
Ah,
Angeles
okay.
City
Yeah,
College,
that's really
Yes, and it's
good.
because
sponsored
Yeah.
by
they
Hollywood
have
Press
a
Association.
super dope program. It has been endowed by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, as my wife just mentioned. And they've got a really great TV broadcast program, and they
Mhm.
have a really great cinema program. So depending on which side you want to be on, or like me, I do both. Because whether you translate it to a little screen or a big screen, it's the same stuff. Funny story, camera, like, some of the things are different, but why not know both worlds? I mean, some people specialize,
Yeah.
but like I was saying earlier, Mimi and I are out here to create our own opportunities. So we want to know both those worlds because we don't know where we'll end up. Now you've got all of these platforms like a Hulu or a Netflix or
Mhm.
even YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube Red.
You
They
don't
got it
know,
out.
once you just focus on the content, funny story development, the main thing too for us and for me, especially moving out to LA, because I was producing before I got out here. So shout
Okay.
out to my Tampa people. Shout out to my Todd the Zombie cast. So for me, I went from being the guy who knew everybody to kind of having not to completely start over, but having to rebuild that network because I like to produce, and that for me, that's that person who can pull all the elements together. And my wife is the same way. We're like, okay, you're good at camera, you're good at acting. My friend Shaniqua was a dope actress. My friend Toby's great
Yep.
at camera. My
Dope.
friend Lionel is a funny or whatever it is. And then you pull all those elements together, and then boom, you got a project. And there's no telling where it could go because there are so many festivals here. There are so
Yes.
many little indie nights or little film fest, little
Mhm.
YouTube. Like Mimi just, like I said, participated in the AT&T Create-a-thon, where you could either come with a team, you can meet people there, and you just create. There's so many dope creative people in LA, and they're not hard to get to.
Nope, not at all.
Work your social media, work friends of friends. Like, we're at least 2 or 3 degrees away from anybody you want to meet.
Mhm.
That's so true.
If you really think about it.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much, and
Of course.
congratulations
Thank
for
you for
all your
having me.
success.
Yes,
Thank
congratulations.
Are
you.
they going to be able to find that film online
I
soon,
just
or how will
post.
they be able to?
I have no idea. There are offers going around, and
Mm-hmm.
we're currently showing at another festival in Austin. If anyone's listening in Austin, we'll be there next week. And from there, I'm not sure. Joseph Kahn can keep a good secret. So,
Give us your
thank you.
social media.
All right, one more time. I'm on
One more again.
everything
Yeah,
as Shaniqua
spell it
Shonda.
out, girl,
S
so they
H
can
She
get it
got
O
it.
right.
She got it.
NIQUASHANDAI. Shaniqua Shonda.
Well, we appreciate you so
Thank you
much.
for calling.
Thank
Of
you
course.
for just being so committed because, like even Mimi was saying, she knows that you've been at it for a while and grinding. So
Yes.
I know it's been
Thank
like
you.
10 plus years to become an overnight success. So kudos.
Yeah. Thank
And
you. Thank you for
We
sharing
gonna
your
be
work
like
with me
Jada and
too.
Vivica Fox, rising up
Okay.
together.
Yes. So I'm gonna go utilize what I just learned from you on these auditions tomorrow.
absolutely. So,
Thank you.
and we're going to collab some more. So be ready. We ready.
I'm here.
And so we had, Keith had a question earlier.
Yes, his question was, how about some good old fashioned Richard Pryor cussing jokes?
Richard Pryor was such a master at it, man. One of my favorites is, sorry for the feedback. Richard Pryor did a joke talking about when he shot out his car because one of his wives at the time was getting ready to leave him, and he was like basically. Just 1 second while we hang up the call. My wife is pretending to know what she's doing on the boys, and she does
Yeah,
not yet.
I have to learn that.
She's still interning.
Okay.
So Keith, yeah, man. I wouldn't even attempt to try to do a Richard Pryor joke. He was such a master. But one of my favorites is he says, so he shot the engine out the car because he basically said, and he went in the house because the cops were coming, and he said, I went in the house because I shoot cars, but cops shoot niggars. And so that was just like, man, what a clever switch of a phrase and just, brilliant. So we've got another caller on the line. We lost him. Sorry, I took too long. But be sure to call me back, 424-227-9461. And just appreciate everybody for participating. But yeah, man, Richard Pryor was a brilliant dude. And one of the things that I thought was profound, because I think a lot of comics felt like they learned to cuss from him. And like Eddie Murphy learned from him, and then we learned from Eddie Murphy. But one of the things I thought was powerful was after he took a trip to Africa and he came back and said he was no longer going to use the N word. And for someone to get as big as he got using such language, to say, I'm not going to use the word anymore because I went to Africa, and he had to ask himself, do you see any N words out here? And he didn't. And that revelation changed his whole way of thinking. And so I think that was profound. I loved watching these epiphanies that a lot of my great black guys that I look up, black mentors that I look up to, have had. And I love being able to watch that progression and that growth. So Richard Pryor was one, and, that kind of a moment. Muhammad Ali is another person. Even saying, I'm not going to go over here to Vietnam and fight these brown people. They never called me the N-word, but they have in my country here in America. So as we sit back and reflect, people are trying to boycott the NFL right now because of Colin Kaepernick. And we're hearing these owners of teams having such issues with him. Like, really? When this brother has been nothing but righteous in his movement and nothing but polite and respectful, but yet you still go out here and hire these athletes who have been troubled, and you forgave those athletes, but the one brother who's just trying to stand up for something positive, that's the guy you have an issue with. So it just goes to show you how deep all this stuff goes. And why a lot of these voices were so powerful from the 70s, 50s, 60s, and 70s up through the 80s and 90s, up through the 2000s with Dick Gregory. Why these voices were so powerful. So I'm just happy that YouTube exists in such a way that we can all go back and revisit some of these powerful words. Even Dr. Sebi, who was just, I believe, killed. I don't believe he died of natural causes, but urging people, not just black people, but people, how to eat better. And he's basically saying, listen, they brought us here from Africa, but they didn't bring our food with us. And when we had to learn to eat in this country, they gave us all the scraps and we turned them into delicacies. But it's still not the food that was meant for our bodies. So let's not lose sight of these words and these messages that these great men have left us, because their words get to live on YouTube and on the internet. So I want you guys to research these people. Dr. Sebi, Sebi, Dick Gregory, who almost did like a weekly hour-long plus show just on history. This brother ran for president. This brother was playing the Playboy Club back when they didn't want N-words in anywhere near the place. Certain places made exceptions for entertainers. They don't mind when you can shuck and jive for them. And if Colin Kaepernick would have kept his mouth closed, they would have let him play. But when you can stand up for yourself and when you can speak intelligently about things and history and how we need to move forward as a people, then, they have a problem with you. They take you out. Like they took out Malcolm X, like they took out Dr. King, like they took out Medgar Evers, like they broke up the Black Panther Party. So let's not lose sight of all of the power that we have as a culture and as a people, because it all still exists in us. It still lives in us. But we get distracted with all this internet, with all this reality TV. But what I'm telling you is that knowledge still exists. These messages are still powerful. Even up to today's time with the Tupacs and Biggies. Like if you go back and even listen to some of their stuff, they're still spitting knowledge in between those raps. But you got to have your mind open enough to hear the message. Whether it's Dear Mama, whether it's you know, just shouting out Tupac, whether it's Brenda Got a Baby, like, but you know, because you can go back and listen to an interview that Pac did mentioning Donald Trump and the greed in this country, in this society, and how damaging it can be. We've got all these billionaires and all of this stuff, but yet we still have poor people. We still have all these health issues. And think about it. Think about what they're doing with this food. That's why I want y'all to check out Dr. Sabi. They just created some apples now that don't brown quickly. They've changed the genetic makeup of apples and potatoes to keep them from bruising and going and browning. But you know, guess what? That's supposed to happen because that lets you know when the food shouldn't be eaten. It lets you know when the food should be discarded. So stay woke, people, because these entities are creating things that are destroying us from the inside out. So I want you guys to stay woke. We're going to get on some more positive
Anybody
topics.
has more questions?
Please come check me out. I don't want to get too deep on y'all tonight. So come check me out. Yeah, it's more than jokes out here. It's more than comedy. But give us a call. Feel free to give us a call. 424-227-9461. But yeah, shout out to, thank you, Keith, for that question about Richard Pryor, man. And it was great to see his growth as even an entertainer, because there is video of him bombing at one show and trying to work his way through it, and it just wasn't working for him. So he apologized to the people. He invited everybody back out the next day, and then came back, and it became one of his classic stand-ups. I believe it was shot here in Hollywood too. So what I'm saying is, you know, these records still exist. These videos still exist, so you can still check them out. I think I watched that on YouTube. So a lot of this information is still here, and even for young comics out there, you can learn from the greats. So that's what I encourage you to do.
Just got another email.
Yes.
A lovely lady named Say.
Hey, Say.
She wanted to know about women comedians, and she said, "Are you familiar with Ali Wong?"
I am familiar with Ali Wong. I believe she just did a really interesting. She's got a Netflix special, and shout out to Netflix as well, because that's an excellent way for you to catch up with a lot of this comedy. Because it's here to live on forever now. Mm-hmm. And you know, female comics have been killing the game for a long time. I've been a fan of Samore, Adele Givens, Small Fry. Shout out to my friend Tina Graham that I met through my sister Uisa. Shout out Uisa. So there have been female comics, man, that have been killing the game since the beginning. You go back to Moms Mabley. You go back to there are just so many. And even shout out to Tiffany Haddish and some of the new female comics like Ali and who are just killing the game right now. But special shout out to Tiff, because she just ran away with that movie. So if you guys haven't seen Girls Trip yet, please check it out. It was phenomenal. So Regina did a great job, and really great job hosting VH1 Hip Hop Honors last night. And then Queen Latifah and Jada. It's so great to see where their careers have come from Queen Latifah rapping UNITY. Y'all remember that? And Jada being on like a different world and coming up, even being in Pac's music video, Keep Your Head Up. And, you know, and it was even touching to see an interview she was doing about talking about Pac, because and how that movie was handled. So I'm just happy. I'm just so privileged to see how these careers have developed.
I just wanted to like go back a little bit and talk about when Ali Wong, when she actually performed pregnant. I mean, that I thought that was like brilliant, because I know like probably in this industry they sometimes ban women for even showing that they are pregnant. Usually they try to hide it. So yeah, I commend her for actually doing that on stage.
They want y'all to waist train. They want y'all to get the boobs done, the butt done. Like, they want y'all to be these caricatures. But shout out to women who could do themselves authentically and talk about those experiences, like Allie, like Amy Schumer, who just are just out here feeling like, I feel like, you know, a lot of them are creating their own opportunities. And so, especially like I say, with Amy Schumer coming up, watching her sketches, watching the show, and then what she was able to do with Trainwreck, writing it,
Funny movie.
starring in it,
Funny movie.
just wearing all, you know, so many hats, but and working with her sister, who are out there creating their own opportunities. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I mention people like that, people like Issa Rae, who came up doing her YouTube videos, Awkward Black Girl, and now with Insecure on HBO. So, and that's what I'm saying about me and my wife. We're out here to create our own opportunities. And that's what is so beautiful about how this game has been cultivated and continues to develop. So you guys don't have to wait on anybody. These phones keep getting so advanced. These editing softwares keep getting so easy, becoming more and more easy to use, that hey man, you could create your own space, and you no longer have to let Hollywood dictate what kind of character you're supposed to play. You know, and that's what's beautiful about the game right now. We're getting to see so many diverse images of Black people, and representation is so important. So that's what I love about, say, a movie like Girls Trip, because you got Tiffany Haddish being the comic relief, you got Jada Pinkett being the mom type, you know, you got Regina King being Regina Hall.
Correction.
Regina
Sorry about
Hall
that, Regina.
being the, you know, the guru and the
relationship,
you know, relationship guru, and then you got Queen Latifah being the tabloid you know, personality. And shout out to TMZ, because they've had me on the show a couple of times. So, you know, it's just so many different, but this is the first time we've ever been able to see so many different types of images of Black people. And shout out once again, like I said, to Donald Glover, because he's showing people a side of Atlanta that as Black people we knew. I'm a Floridian. We know that side. You know, I've been to the Freakniks. I've been to just being in Atlanta and just enjoying Black culture and being in the South and all of that, the beautifulness of it. But the world didn't always get to see those images of us, of being more than just entertainers, being writers, directors, producers, actors, like everything. We're such a multifaceted group of people. And so I'm just so happy for everybody. And we're just out here creating the world that we want to see. And so I encourage everyone out here watching, you don't have to wait on anybody. I didn't have to wait on Hollywood. Even when I moved out here, I was creating back in Tampa. And so shout out to all my theater friends back there. Shout out to all my stand-up comedy friends. Rory Lawrence comes to mind with the Tampa Bay Black Theater Festival every year. Shout out to my boy Tony Stinyard, who I believe has a birthday coming up, for just writing, creating, you know. Shout out to my homeboy Dion Gibson. Shout out to my boy Robert Edwards. We were just out there just creating. We didn't wait on anybody. Shout out to my other good friend Derek Roberts, who was out there creating with us too, who you've seen on a lot of TV shows. So you know, the world is yours. You just got to decide what you guys want and just go out there and get it for yourselves. So I appreciate everybody who was able to tune in. We're going to be wrapping up shortly, but we've got time for at least one more call. I'm easy to find at Rocky the Comic on Facebook, social media, and all of these other outlets. You can also catch my wife at Micheline, aka Mimi, on a lot of things. And you can spell that at MISHALENE at excuse me, not at, aka Mimi, MIMI. Shout out to my girl Annamarie Polka. You can catch us every Tuesday here.
We miss you, girl.
We miss you. Hopefully you tuned in. Annamarie Polkara, but I think online it's also Annamarie Polka. And so we're out here just creating. Feel free, like I said, hit me up. The number, once again, 424-227-9461. And like I said, special shout out to just thepowerofvoices.com, because they give a voice. This is one of those outlets that give a voice to people who have ideas and have thoughts. And so we thank Josefa for creating an opportunity like this, creating a space like this, giving us such a beautiful studio to work in. And so, yeah, this is the Comedy Hour Live. Once again, I'm your host, Rocky Kuso, aka Rocky the Comic. And it has been my pleasure to be here with you tonight. And also, special shout out to my friend Lee Michaels.
What?
Yes, darling, what you have for us?
Okay, so some comics want to know right now, where can they go? Where can they do their sets at?
You know, there are so many wonderful spots out here in LA. You know, the wonderful thing that I love is there's somewhere to perform every night in LA. So what you got to start doing is Googling, just Google open mics. There is a website called the Comedy Bureau. Check that out. That's a great resource. But when you just Google comedy shows and you Google open mics, Los Angeles, you're going to find a lot of information. You can always check out my girl, Nichelle, over at the Comedy Store on Thursday nights. It's a late night show. You can catch my homeboy Rome in Sherman Oaks every Tuesday night at Good Times Comedy. That's a book show, so check him out. Rome's Kingdom. And Nichelle is easy to find, just like Michelle with an N. And that's Crack 'em Up Thursdays. And you can check out Spike every Monday night at the Improv, hosted by D-Ray. So, you know, there are so many wonderful spots out here. All it takes is a Google search.
I just had a thought.
Yes, darling.
Okay, so a few years ago, I got a ticket, and my friend recommended going to comedy traffic school.
Okay.
It was actually really funny. It was actually pretty good because I didn't have to listen to some boring person just explain the rules of what you're supposed to be doing when you're driving.
Sit there for,
so
4
I thought
hours?
that was a brilliant idea. Whoever created that, who started that traffic comedy school, dope.
What is it, like 3 hours, 4 hours? Yeah, if you got to sit there that long, you might as well try to have some fun with it and get them points off your license.
If you didn't know that you can do that, you guys, you can.
Yeah, so once again, like, it has been my profound pleasure. Once again, you can check us out always at thepowerofvoices.com. You can check out our Facebook page, The Power of Voices. And once again, the show is The Comedy Hour Live, and I was your host this evening, Rocky Kuso, a.k.a. Rocky the Comic, on all your social media.
Thank you for tuning in, you guys.